This is lecture 6, paper EL 6501, unit 4 for CIA 2 examination point of view. At present, we study about the UJT. What is UJT? It is known as unijunctional transistor. This is a 3-terminal semiconductor switching device. This device has a unique characteristics that when it is triggered, that means when it is switched on, the emitter current increases regeneratively until it is limited by emitter power supply. When it is triggered, the emitter current increases regeneratively until it is limited by emitter power supply. And due to these characteristics, the unijunction transistor, that means UJT, can be employed in a variety of applications. For example, switching, pulse generator, sawtooth generator, etc. Now we are discussing about the construction. So the construction of UJT, it is like this. This is your base 1 and base 2. B1, that means base 1. This is your B2, that means base 2. And there is a P-type material. Here there is a P-type material. This is your emitter. This is your emitter. This is N-type material. This is P-type material. This shows us PN junction, P and N. So this is our PN junction. This bar, it is your silicon, and in between this silicon there is a N-type material. So it is known as silicon N-type bar. Silicon N-type bar. The symbol is like, looks like this. Base 2, base 1, and see here, this emitter is very close to B2 and far from B1. So the emitter lead is also looks like this. So the emitter is also looks like this. This is your emitter terminal, base 2 terminal, base 1 terminal. This is your symbol of UJT. This is the construction of UJT. So we can say that from the figure, the structure of a UJT, It consists of N-type silicon bar. This silicon bar is your N-type with an electrical connection on each end, base 1 and base 2. The leads to these connections are known as base 1 and base 2. Partway along the bar between the two bays nearer to the B2 than B1, a PN junction is formed between the P-type emitter and the bar. The lead to this junction is known as emitter lead. This is the symbol and this is the construction. Now the following points are not. Point number 1, the device has one PN junction. There is only one PN junction and three leads. Hence, it is commonly known as uni-junction transistor. That means uni means single or one. We can say one. Uni means single or one. Only one PN junction. The second point be remembered is that with only one PN junction, the device is really form of diode because the two base terminals are taken from one section of the diode. This device is also known as double based diode. Double based diode. It is also known as double based diode. The third point is the emitter is heavily doped, having many holes. The N region, however, is lightly doped. For this reason, this is heavily doped and this emitter base is lightly doped. For this reason, the resistance between the base terminal is very high when emitter lead is open. So when emitter lead is open, at that time resistance between B2 and B1 is very high. These are the three main points of the uni-junction transistor. Now we are discussing about the operation, how it works, working of UJT. So for this we draw the circuit. This is our silicon bar. This is our P, that means emitter lead. This emitter lead, it is connected to the, if it is connected to the no voltage, that means open circuit. This is your base 1, this is your base 2. Base 2, it is connected to the power supply. What happens when this circuit is used? Second, when there is a voltage in between the emitter and base 1. So second circuit is same thing. This is your silicon bar. This is your emitter. In between this there is a supply voltage. This is your base 1. This is your base 2. And this we have to connect here. This is your VBB. This is also VBB. Current is IB. Current is IE. What happened? Here, figure shows the basic circuit of operation of a uni-junction transistor. The device has normally B2 positive with respect to B1. So first case, If voltage VBB is applied between B2 and B1 with emitter open, that means this circuit, what happened here? A voltage gradient is established along the N-type bar. Since the emitter is located near to the B2, more than half of the VBB appears between the emitter and base 1. Here, this is very near to the B2, this is very far, therefore the voltage V1 between emitter and B1, this is your voltage V1. The voltage V1 between emitter and base 1 establish a reverse bias on the PN junction and the emitter current is cut off. Of course, a small leakage current flows from B2 to emitter due to the minority carrier. So only there is some leakage current from B2 to emitter, and this is due to minority carrier. In the second circuit, this, if a positive voltage is applied at the emitter, here positive voltage is applied to the emitter, the PN junction will remain reverse bias so long as the input voltage is less than V1, right? When it is less than V1, this is your V1, so this is your V1, the PN junction will remain reverse bias so long as the input voltage is less than V1. Now, if the input voltage to the emitter exceed V1, more than V1, at that time the PN junction becomes forward bias. Under these conditions, holes are injected from the P-type material into the N-type bar. These holes are repelled by the positive B2 terminal and they are attracted towards B1 terminal of the bar. This accumulation of holes in the emitter to B1 region results into the decrease of resistance in this section of the bar. The result is that internal voltage drop from emitter to base 1 is decreased and hence the emitter current IE increases. As more holes are injected, a condition of saturation means switched on. A condition of saturation will eventually be reached. At this point, the emitter current is limited by emitter power supply only. The device is now in the on state. The device is now on state, saturation region. The last third point, if a negative pulse is applied, if a negative pulse is applied to the emitter, the PN junction is reverse biased and the emitter current is cut off. The device is then said to be off condition. Cut off means off condition. In this way, we discuss about the working of the UJT. Now we will discuss about the equivalent circuit of a UJT. So for this, there is a need of equivalent circuit. We are discussing now equivalent circuit of UJT. So this is the equivalent circuit. This works as a diode, so we use this into the form of diode. There is a RBB which is divided into two forms, RB1 and RB2. This is your RB2 because there is upper side. there is a base 2. This is your base 2. Lower side there is a base 1. So this is your base 1. This is your RB1 because this is your B1. So this is your RB1. B2, therefore this is your RB2. And this is your common line. In between common line there is a supply voltage which is known as VBB. So this is your VBB plus minus current IB. In between this there is a V1. This V1, it is nothing but it is eta VBB. It is also known as V1. It is also known as V1. Here emitter voltage it is symbolized VE. Emitter voltage which is symbolized VE. So the current is IE. It works as a diode. So in between this there is a voltage drop VD, voltage across the diode. So in this way, this is the equivalent circuit of the UJT. This figure shows that the resistance of the silicon bar is called the interbase resistance RBB. See, I just remember this is our silicon bar, this is your base 2, this is your base 1, and the in between this resistance it is known as RBB. The interbase resistance is represented by two resistors in series. This RBB is now RB2 and RB1. RB2 is the resistance of silicon bar between B2, this RB2, between B2 and the point at which the emitter junction lies. And the point at which the emitter junction lies. RB1 is the resistance of this RB1 is the resistance of the bar between B1 and the emitter junction This resistance is shown variable. This resistance is shown variable. This is the symbol for variable because its value depends upon the bias voltage across the PN junction. This value depends upon the what is the value we are applying to the input. The PN junction is represented in the emitter by a diode D. The circuit action of the UJT can be explained more clearly from its equivalent circuit with no voltage applied. So for this first condition, no voltage is applied to the UJT. The interbase resistance is given by RBB. It is equal to RB1 plus RB2. The value of RBB generally lies between 4 kilo ohm to 10 kilo ohm. The value is 4 kilo ohm to 10 kilo ohm when no voltage is given to the UJT. Second point is if a voltage VBB is applied. Now when VBB is applied between the base with emitter open, the voltage will divide up to RB1 and RB2. So voltage across RB1, so voltage across the RB1, it is equal to V1 and it is equal to RB1 upon RB1 plus RB2 into VBB. So this is our second point when no voltage is given. Second way we can also write this V1 upon VBB, it is equal to RB1 upon RB1 plus RB2. The ratio V1 upon VBB is called intrinsic standoff ratio. This ratio, it is known as intrinsic standoff ratio. This ratio is known as intrinsic standoff ratio, and it is represented by eta, and it is represented by eta. The value of eta is equal to, so the eta is equal to RB1 upon RB1 plus RB2. The value of eta is in between, this is in between 0.51 to 0.82. The voltage across RB1, the voltage across RB1 is given as eta into VBB. The voltage eta into VBB appearing across RB1 reverse bias the diode. This reverse bias the diode. Therefore, the emitter current is 0. Therefore, emitter current is 0. The third thing from the equivalent circuit, the last third thing is if now a progressively rising positive voltage is applied to the emitter. Now we apply positive voltage to the emitter. What happened? The diode will become forward bias when input voltage exceed eta VBB by VD. The forward voltage drop across the silicon diode. Therefore, Vp is equal to eta VBB plus VD. Here, Vp is known as peak point voltage. Peak point voltage. VD is our forward voltage drop. Forward voltage drop across the silicon diode. Across the silicon diode, you know that when it is switched on, it is nearly equal to 0.7 volt. When the diode D starts conducting, holes are injected from P-type material to the N-type bar. These holes are swept down towards the terminal B1. This decreases the resistance between emitter and base 1, and hence the internal drop from emitter to base 1. The emitter current now increases regeneratively until it is limited by the emitter power supply. That's all. This complete your sixth lecture. Thank you.